Hello, welcome back to the Wanxiety podcast. On this week's episode, we have the beautiful Miki-chan. Can I say that?
Yeah, of course.
Miki went from a career in art to a career in UX UI design, and she is going to talk to us about her path.
Yes. Thank you, Juicy, for this opportunity. I already told you, but this has been the experience of thinking about being in front of the camera and just thinking about talking about my career has helped me really digest who I am, what I have done in the past, and it's been already helpful. I'm super excited to be here to talk to you about this.
Thank you. So, you started in art, from what I remember.
Yes.
We've been friends for quite a while. Tell me how that was and how your experience was with deciding to change to something new.
Sure. So it's a little long, but I try to try to be concise. So I'm from Japan originally, and I grew up with my grandma, who had a beautiful collection of Japanese arts and crafts. You know, so it was very natural for me to choose a path in art industry, art market in general. So when I graduated college in Tokyo, I moved to France to pursue a master's in art management. And the first job I got after the master's degree was to work as a marketing associate in a boutique agency that represented the license of for artists like Keith Haring, Jean-Michel Basquiat, or the Beatles.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I did not know this about you. Yeah, it's but it was very interesting. So I say it's art. It was in art, but it was very commercial. What we did was to find brands who wanted to collaborate with artists. Like, of course, Keith Haring, Jean-Michel Basquiat, they're dead. Sorry, they passed away already, but their artwork's still alive. So we kind of approached the brands. Hey, do you want to make a make a handbag collection with us? And that was my first job. And I moved to New York after that job because I found amazing opportunity to work for a contemporary artist whose name is Prune Nori, and she was based between Paris and Brooklyn. So I moved to Brooklyn to work for her. And what I was doing there was to basically help with everything, from setting up the exhibition, promoting the exhibitions, also producing her book, and also helping her establish some digital presence like e-commerce and yeah, just taking care of her website in general. So this is it too long? Okay.
No, I want to hear. People want to hear.
I'm very invested right now. All right. So this job helped me learn how artists, creates their career. It's not just producing the beautiful, work of art, but there's so many things around, and there's so much strategy behind it for them to be a successful artist. And she was really good at it, so that was very inspiring. And I wanted to explore this commerce a little bit more. So I got a job for a company called ArtMap. It's a large online marketplace for art, and what I was doing there was digital advertising, like a product development. So I think this was when I really started looking at the platform itself rather than just like a strategy and a way to kind of sell art. And because it was a digital platform where artworks are sold through auctions, and they also had a news website where they specialize in writing about artists. So that's when I was so intrigued by the way people consume art in digital landscape, there are museums and galleries, but that a lot more people consume art in digital format. And like a tiny UI component on a website can really impact the way how people read the article, how people look at the artworks. So that was like eye-opening for me, and I started reading more about this thing called UX design, UI design, and I wanted to pursue that. So I decided to leave the art industry as a whole. The reason why was, um, how to say this, no art organizations really invested much in technology back then. I think it's better now, but I'm talking about like a 7, 8 years ago. Oh, holy shit. I'm sorry, I can't say. And I was, yeah, I thought it would be a good idea for me to kind of like get out of my comfort zone and start really learning about how technology was done right. That's when I went to this career fair and met somebody from a big fintech company. And I've never thought of like working for fintech in the past, but I got a job. And that was actually an operation job, technical operation job. So I wasn't really doing UX in day to day, but from the day one, I think I was manifesting like I want to end up in UX. So like even though in the day to day it wasn't my responsibility to design things actually, but I was raising my hand for every single opportunity where I got a chance to kind of like design a service or program. So I was applying this thing I learned back then, like user centered design, or to whatever was available to me. And yeah, and I networked like every day. I reached out to people. That company was very, very, how do you say? It had a very good culture of growth, and they love their employees to connect with each other. Like a jump, even the career was horizontally across different disciplines. So I was very lucky, and everything just came together when there was an opening in the UX department at this company. I immediately jumped on and I nailed the interview because I was always manifesting and I was like practicing, day to day. I was taking classes, and actually that was when I did my first UX boot camp, and so like 7 years ago. Yeah, I was just getting ready gradually for the moment when the opportunity kind of falls in your hand. So that's the path I took to get into UX. But of course, like landing on your dream job is never the end of the story. So there was a lot of. Can I start getting into the anxiety thing a little bit
Yeah,
here?
of course.
So because
That's what this podcast is about.
yeah, so it was my first UX job, and I did a lot of self learning, but I wasn't like I didn't have a degree in it, and my degree was art management. And if you look at my resume, all the jobs I took was in this different industry, so I had huge like imposter syndrome. I remember reaching out to a therapist who was available through like an employee assistant program because I was having a breakdown. That was like a few weeks into the new role, and I was already seeing so many smart people around me. Everybody was so much better than me. I was like, oh my god, I can't do this job. Like I studied a lot, but I'm not there yet. And then this therapist guy on the phone, it wasn't like even a real session. It was a first call. He told me like it's normal. Like everybody seems like they know what they're doing, but they probably don't. And it usually takes like I don't know. It depends on the person, but like 6 months to 1 year for someone to get used to the new job, especially if it's a new discipline. And he really calmed me, and also he helped me understand this anxiety and stress-prone personality actually helps me become a very detail-oriented, organized person, and sometimes a little too perfectionist. But just I love myself, and I came to the point where I consider these weaknesses as my strengths, if that makes sense. So yeah, there was definitely a moment where I had anxiety and it was affecting me negatively, but I think I kind of like changed it into something positive, and that was such a breakthrough I meant. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, the people that suffer from the worst anxiety, like workplace anxiety, career anxiety,
Mhm.
are the people that work the hardest, because we are so conscious and so fearful of like not being good enough, not doing good enough, not like we just work so hard
Yeah.
to just keep proving ourselves that
Yeah,
we know what we're doing.
exactly.
And you mentioned moving, well, you moved from Japan, then you
Mhm.
moved to Paris,
Yes.
and you moved then to New York. How was that? Like, what were your fears and concerns, like worries, like obviously like moving countries?
Yeah, moving countries, moving jobs.
And you speak
Yeah,
fluent French.
I used to.
Okay.
I'm forgetting, but yeah, let's say yeah. We. Sorry, what was your question?
Like, what were your fears like in moving country? Okay, like Japan. I love Japan. My favorite country, hands down. I mean, besides Italy, of course. But Japan is such a different place than Europe and the US, especially than Paris.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
how was that? Like, how did you find places to live? What were your fears when you were moving? I'm sure you had
Sure.
like a lot of anxiety before leaving your family. Like, I don't think you'd ever left right before you moved to Paris.
I actually have lived in Belgium
Okay.
before 1 year, but yeah, like every time, like you said, I regret the decision. Like a night before the departure, I regret the decision, and I cry so much. And my mom starts crying, and my father's sad also. Like everybody, it's like the end of the world. And how many times did I do that? I don't know. Yeah, it's of course. Yeah, so one thing I want to say here, and I want to say it in a way that like not contradicting with anxiety. It doesn't. It just like I'm choosing the word. So anxiety is not always bad thing, right? So it really I think that's the thing that kept me safe every time I moved to a different country, and also very, how do you say, curious and proactive in discovering new things and meeting people, because I was anxious to about like if I can find my community. I was super active in like reaching out to people, reaching out to alumni of the school, and I ended up finding friends, like more friends, faster than any other like Japanese students in the country, and I always ended up with the best like quality friends whom I still stay in touch in every single company, or every country, every single city, even like I stayed for a little while. So I think it's like a nutrition. I found a way to really convert anxiety into a fuel to do things. So yeah, it's and by the time when I moved to New York, I knew how it would go, even if I felt anxious behind the scenes. So yeah,
That's awesome. So after the fintech company that you worked at, I know you then went to Sotheby's.
yes,
Can you explain like a little bit more what you did at Sotheby's?
yes.
Yeah, I'll let you take it away. It's your story, so not mine.
Yes, sure. Okay. So after I moved to UX in this company, the fintech company, um, a year after, I actually was headhunted by Sotheby's, and thanks to my background in art, because Sotheby's, in case you don't know, Sotheby's is one of the biggest art auction houses in the world, and they found my profile on LinkedIn, working or in art market, and then transitioning into this very technology and product heavy fintech company. So they thought I was the profile they were looking for. And when that happened, I had this complex of not having a coherent career. Like, I studied art management, but I was then in fintech company, and at times I used to feel like, man, I should have studied computer science. I should have studied like a human computer interaction, which is a degree for the UX designers. And yeah, imposter syndrome sometimes made me feel inferior to other
Career
UX designers.
anxiety.
Yeah,
That's what it is,
exactly.
literally career anxiety.
Absolutely. But then that when the Sotheby's reached out, I really felt like, oh my god, everything makes sense now. Like, all the dots were connected, and kind of like you know, created a beautiful tapestry of Miki's career, unique, one in the world, and I was very very happy. And then that this role was UX and technology program manager. So I read few very interesting programs for design system development and the mobile app redesign, which really, I think, helped me acquire so many new skills and kind of push me, how do you say, like a level up as a both as a UX designer and program manager. So I'm very grateful for this job, but that's not the end of the story. Life is interesting. So I recently got affected by the company-wide layoff. Yeah, surprise at Sotheby's. And I'm not going into details here, but basically they decided to reallocate the resources into the areas where no front end or UX things are needed. So a lot of people got affected, and yeah, I lost my job. Um, but I'm also lucky enough to stay connected with lots of people there who have been very supportive for me. Yeah, it's just it's not, to be honest, it's not easy to be in my position, but I got a lot from this job. So yeah, I'm very grateful. And losing a job is very how do you say, stressful, and that gives you so much anxiety. And I don't think there is a way around it to kind of completely kind of like eliminate these. It's just like it's human nature. So what I've been doing is really preparing myself to become bulletproof as a designer or UX professional. And I've been taking some, courses, continuous education. You take one boot camp and done. That's not like this. You always have to keep studying. And so I'm now taking like an AI product design class, which just give me a new perspective. But also, like, taking care of yourself is super important. Sorry, I should have mentioned this first, but I took a break to travel to Philippines and to do diving, and I went to Japan to spend some time with my family, and that really helped me like refresh my mind, and then coming back, starting to prepare for the job search has been I think it's been not fun, but like a good self um, caring moment than just like desperately applying, and feeling sad about the situation. So yeah, it's the balancing between being kind to yourself and being kind of strict with yourself, giving yourself a discipline, and just live this moment, because it really happens to, I think it could happen to anybody, especially right now. Yeah.
We live in tough, strange times.
Yeah, strange times.
So you've been very productive while you are doing this job search. You're still taking courses. Like, what was your favorite, like, what kind of advice would you give to someone? Like, how do you find these courses? Like, what do you look for in a course? And yeah.
Yeah. What kind of, yeah, so that's a really good question. So there is a lots of information online these days, right? Like these are the must read books. Like these are the things you have to do to get a job in UX. Um, don't blindly follow these advice, and I would even say like don't always just believe what the influencers tell you on there are lots of people who are producing content that's great, and people give you advice about breaking into UX and doing boot camp really like gives you a new job and these kind of things. Don't take it like a all in blindly, but instead try to build a habit of familiarizing yourself with the actual tangible skills that are needed in the UX field. For example, like we use mobile apps every day, right? Like on your phone. Start while you use the app, start analyzing like how the application is built, what you like about it, what typefaces or typography they are using, what color theme they're using. These like little, how do you say, training your designer muscle in the day to day really helped me realize, okay, maybe I should study a little bit more typography. Like maybe I need a little more visual design than interaction design skills. Then I started looking for specific course that teach you this specific subject rather than just user experience design, and that has been helpful because um, how do you say it? You're getting more tactical and you are starting to think like a UX designer and in the day to day, even though you are not being paid to do that job. So yeah, that's like think and live like a designer, even though you are not there yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, so does it make sense? Like that's what I try to do at least. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I do have like one last question I like to ask everybody. What is the one piece of advice you would give your younger self? I know it sounds cliche, but I like to hear these kind of things.
Younger self. Oh.
I mean, you're very young, but
Thank you, Juicy. I love Wanxiety. Okay, let me think. I know you said that you were gonna ask me, but I didn't prepare for this question actually. Younger self, I would say you just keep trusting your gut. I would not change anything too much. It might be maybe a disappointing answer for you, but because like I said, like what I've been trying to convey with my poor word choices here is whatever you were doing in the past, you always like get to tell your story, like a unique, it's your brand, only you can tell the story of your life and story of your career, and no matter how it seems inconsistent and all over the place, there's a meaning to it, right? Like why you got from this point A to point B. So just trust yourself and choose your path. Choose your path based on what you're looking for at the moment. You don't have to worry too much about the future where you will be, who knows, right? So that's, yeah. TLDR, don't change. Sorry.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Of course.
And Miki was actually kind enough to write her path for us and share some resources for those of you who are looking to get into UX design and just don't quite know where to start. So I will be posting that on the By Wanxiety website. So look out for it, read it, send us messages, comment, let us know what you would like to see on there, if there's more, and I will send it over to Miki so she can add more stuff to it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.